cameras up to scratch. I checked myself 2 days ago. I think it's 18 are working. I will check again during the next week to make sure that stays. And Cassie, you can monitor that as well. We've installed the street lights, manhole covers upgrade, repainting the speed humps, which will be a recurring maintenance works. Sorry, and we built a new one. Power washing, bridge repairs, and of course we did the Christmas decorations, which unfortunately I wasn't here to enjoy. So the bridge repairs, those are basically maintenance issues. I'm going to have a look at the actual bridge during the next week, just for the substructure to make sure everything is fine, that we don't have any issues, hidden issues that cost a lot. But yeah, we've replaced the handrails with hardwood to keep that aesthetic. We don't want to go metal or plastic or anything like that. That's I guess the Christmas decorations right there. I thought that was quite nice. So it's nice, you know, that they've done something.
It's the first time as well, so it's really,
Yeah,
it's really lovely to see.
yeah. I thought that was.
They were very well.
Yeah. So you don't have to do any decorations. So just go outside and tell your friends and family, look what I've done. So these manhole covers, you remember, for those who've been here a few years, previously there were manhole covers that were built with concrete. They were, number one, too heavy to lift. They did not have enough reinforcement. They did not have a steel edge on it. So it was basically, yeah, wasn't good. These, I actually designed these, just a standard checker plate, which is light enough to be lifted. And if somebody decides to put a vehicle on it, they're not going to fall through. You know, tradesmen will do what tradesmen do. Yeah, so there are more to do, and also it's a safety issue, and we will touch on safety issues towards the end. But one of the things we are looking at as a committee is to, and I spoke to Cassie this morning, to improve the safety on the road reserve. For those who don't know what a road reserve is, it's from wall boundary to boundary. We don't own that, okay? That is common property. So some buildings have steel bars sticking up outside on the road reserve. I used to manage a lot of safety. I'm not a safety officer, but I'm an engineer, but big projects, you have to be on safety. Someone could fall and get impaled. Kid could fall and get impaled. And if that happens, who's responsible? The association, because that's common property. It's not private property. So yeah, these are a good initiative. We have to roll some more out.
Yeah.
How many more we have to do?
Like I think 22 or 12, because of construction, we have some more.
Yeah, okay, so we have a few to do, so
Yeah.
we'll get those done this year, right?
Yeah.
This calendar year.
Second quarter.
Right.
The rest of the year.
Brent was instrumental in rolling out these street lights. I looked at the designs. And part of the problem with LEDs, well, the good things is that they last a long time. They are cheap, very cost effective, 800% or more cheaper to run. But the problem they've had in the past, they were very one directional. So these are has a decent spread. So I've got one in front of my place on the opposite side. So I think that functions really well.
Any reason they have two types of shade, or just that they didn't have enough? Or
I think, I'm not too
I
sure.
think, when we did the order, they couldn't fulfill the order, so they sent us just to do the house. It was,
I'll get back to you.
Yeah,
I have the emails.
not from same party, but that's where the original one.
It might have been,
no, I don't think we did.
Well, we can confirm that.
Those details now.
They do a 3-year guarantee
Okay,
with the invoice, so I always get my lights there.
Okay. No, that's good.
That's fully talks.
Yeah, let's keep going. So,
Hi,
good
excuse-
initiative.
Oh, just to interrupt just briefly again, if we could again reduce the comments during the presentation, because we are getting a feedback and not everybody will hear. So what we can do is at the end, for those physically present, they can come up closer to speak so everyone can hear. Is that okay?
Okay, confirmed.
Thank you.
Yeah. towards the end. So aerial view for those online, you can see the lighting system, how it's improved the, well, I guess aesthetics and safety. Moving on to the next slide. This is the cash in bank for those to see how we are doing. We are just slightly under 800, but I believe, speaking to Jillian, that is up to 900,000 in the accounts at the moment. The blue line, you can see back here in 2011-12, we were very low, and that's a result of non-payment of many of the rent or fees. Fees weren't being paid. Yeah. These are the receivables coming in through, I guess, us landowners and property owners. 2003, tad under 500,000. You can see the last 3 years has been pretty steady, and that looks like the average. If you compare 2005 to 2017, the average is probably about 500,000. So it's actually stabilizing good now. Accounts receivable turnover. Do we have any accountants here? No. Okay, so at the moment for 2022, it's at 3.4 approximately. I'm trying to figure that out. That's why I asked you if there's any accountants here. Jillian, can you jump in and give an explanation on the turnover, please?
Sure. So basically, this just describes how quickly we are to convert our invoices to cash. So the higher the ratio, the better off for the association. So if you notice, it has started increasing again from 2021 into 2022. So we have brought down the receivables to approximately 400 and something thousand. We would like to work on that again in 2024, where we target identified persons. So if you're owing over a certain amount, what we will suggest is that you come in, you make your payments, because if it goes to credit checks, you'll have to pay the full fees, their service charge, plus our cost to have you bringing down your service fees, your receivables. So if you notice, when we first started in 2005, it would have been very low because people were receiving invoices but not paying. You would have seen from 2014 when we actively started to do credit checks, attorneys, all of these things, it would have gone higher. From 2018 to now, we have maintained it at a certain standard. So this allows us to do the projects that you're seeing in the community. That's basically what this chart shows.
Okay, thanks for that, Jillian.
No problem.
I'll move on to the next slide. Standardized maintenance works. Now, these are things that it's really a recurring maintenance program, which is something we're trying to fine tune so that things are done. As you know, we tend to be very reactive when something breaks to try and fix it. We're just trying to have a set program.
So we do it before you see it.
So just going through it, they're all important, clearing, trimming and pruning of trees and shrubs, plant palms, bamboos on the northern boundary every 6 weeks, vines on the southern boundary. Behind my property at 25, they clean the drains out and, you know, got a lot of material to get rid of. Removal of vines, 133, that's a new development.
You want to get
one at the end. So on 133, just want to have a chat about that. Now, we call lowlands for a reason, okay? We're very flat. The road is built at probably a 1-2% grade, very flat grade. So drainage takes time to travel. We did some improvement works with a big excavator at the western boundary gate. And we took that all the way, I think about 150 feet into the mangrove. So when we have heavy flows, it flushes out. There is a little bit to do on one of the cross channels that I inspected a couple of days ago. So we'll get a maintenance worker to clean that out. But I want you to keep in mind that it's lowlands. There are things called tides and there are things called king tides, which happens. When that happens, the runoff, if we have a heavy intensity rainfall, it is slowed down by the discharge point because of a king tide. It's not going to wash out as fast as when you have a low tide. So it's a very flat area. So that's one thing we've got to keep in mind, but we'll do a bit more work on the 45-degree drain to make sure that on the southern side, it flushes into the main channel that was constructed, which is about 4 feet wide and about 18 to 2 feet deep. So just keep that in mind. It's a very flat area. We'll keep working on it, but it is what it is. We live in a very flat place.
As it relates to your homeowners, whether building or current, it would mean if you're building something new, you would raise higher than what your contractor might tell you, because this is not normal flat, right? So you would raise your backfill to what would you recommend?
Well,
4 feet?
no.
Yeah, and so remember, that's one is a good
Yeah,
Yes,
example.
it's exactly,
Wonderful.
right.
we don't do flood study. Sorry, we don't do flood studies. So it is recommended if you build a new house, make sure that your floor level, your finished floor level is fairly higher than the invert of the gutter. That's just a rule of thumb. That's for your engineer to decide on what to do at that point. He will figure out what's best for the
It's supposedly designed for 1 in 30 year flood,
okay,
which we had.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
14 years ago.
okay. We'll talk about that soon. Okay, standardized maintenance works. Just a review here, pruning and maintaining ornamental grasses by the first lake. One of our committee members, Catherine, is involved heavily in the lake maintenance. Second item, maintenance of the southern drain behind lots 1 to 71. That is actually occurring at the moment. They've gone past, I think,
That has
35.
been, yeah, that has been done as of last week. However, some of the challenges we face, obviously, because the neighbors on that side, neighbors, they're just empty lots that go out. So we've tried finding out who those landowners are to help us, just in maintaining, because that overgrowth is a problem.
Okay.
And the trees, the branches. We've also located a patch of cowage, right? So that can also be a big safety and
Yeah.
hazard, not just us, but guests and anybody else.
Okay, thanks, Cassie. The third item is landscaping maintenance front of the compound. I believe there's some improvements planned for that, because that's our entrance. We want to make that look as good as possible. So moving on to 2024 current works in progress. We've done the speed hump installation. You would note that at the sides, we've beveled the sides for a reason. Again, that's a safety issue, because if your tire hits the edge of that, you can destroy your rim, you can destroy a tire, or you step on that, you will twist your ankle. And that's not good. The chain link fence installation, this is the one at where we have the gate, but no fence. That's been a point of contention with me for a long time. Now, we have quotations, we've selected a contractor, but we held off because of the carnival season. So Cassie, when are they going to start?
They're supposed to start this weekend. They gave us a start date of Monday, but they are yet to confirm the Monday as they started. But that is the day that we have recorded for them to begin that fence construction down on the west end.
So that will give us well, not a full perimeter enclosure, but at least it'll enclose
Yeah,
a
the
critical
lots,
part.
yeah, that is lots 114, 116 on there.
Now, standardization of signage throughout the compound. We spent a lot of time looking at signage, costing and designs as a committee. And because it's a private establishment, we have a bit of flexibility in what we can choose. That's sympathetic to the environment we live in. So I think we have further down some slides to show you the signage. They basically include speed bump ahead. We have some ducks around quite often, so we've got a sign for the ducks. Again, no cooking of the ducks, please. Danger, no swimming allowed. That's a very important one for liability. No trespassing. That's clear. And the speed limit is going to be 20.
Great.
Now, 20 means they will probably do 30, okay?
Yes.
But we have to do something with that, and I think the most important thing is to probably, if you rent your property, in your little brochure you send them when they check in, put that down as one of the requirements. No noise, no speeding. Because they'll be guided by the owner on what to do. Okay, hopefully. Slow road curves ahead, that's just an advisory sign for those who don't obey the 20 km. And of course, we have a lot of wildlife here. We've got iguanas and we've got all sorts of stuff.
Is it possible the roundabout by me, everybody cuts it? I keep that.
Let's talk about, we'll have a chat about the roundabout by Mr. Parker later at the end of the meeting, just for those, for your information. And I guess most importantly, we have kids on the compound and kids want to have fun, kids are going to run. So hopefully these are the signs we're going to put up. When are these planned to be produced?
Jillian, no, they supposed to be produced this week, Jillian?
It's
Will
approved.
be Yes, so this will be approximately within the next 2 to 3 weeks, full installation. of
Okay,
all-
good. Jillian, while you're on the topic, can we see a signage plan of the locations? Later on, okay?
Yes, what I will do is ask Cassie to talk on that particular,
Okay. All right.
that's the way it's.
Moving- So moving on, here are a couple other signs, the welcome to Samaan Grove. Stop security checks and the exit sign. So I think it's quite sympathetic. It was hard to go through all the different types available. But we wanted something that's not going to be rough and.
No fishing in pond.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, if we don't have it, we'll add a no fishing in pond
Yeah.
because they're not supposed to fish in the ponds. Here's a couple photographs of the speed hump down in front of your house. It's not, is it? Is it in front of you? Okay,
No, it's on the
But what I like,
I have one in front of my bedroom. Like the first time they put one in front of my bedroom.
it's nice.
So, no, that's good. So that'll assist. Speed humps are built with concrete. They will last, 10, 20, 30 years.
We have another one being installed, or is that the other one?
At this stage, that's it.
No, yeah, that's.
Just a couple things with the upcoming works for 2024. We're looking at some installation of cat eye reflective lighting. Some of that will be appropriate for the roundabout, to highlight that. And they're very effective. They're very effective. So at the moment, we're looking at the options available. And that's for road improvement safety. The second item is we got 2 beautiful bridges. A nice waterway system. It's not always perfect because of change in flood, temperature, season, and pollution events from adjoining neighbors. But we're looking at putting some LED lighting either in the water just to light up the bridge at night. And that'll basically improve the aesthetics. One thing that's really important that the committee was, and myself was, and Brett was keen on was to digitize our records. Often we ask for plans and stuff, and we cannot find it. Or in the past, it wasn't digitized. So we are seeking quotations to capture that information. So people move on, people sell. We need to have that information for the next person who comes in. Make it easy for them. Easy transferring of information. The final item we talked about earlier are the phase 2 for the manhole covers. Are we using the same contractor, Cassie?
Yeah,
Okay, so we have the prices.
yeah. He already has his scope and the number of.
So the last item, the manhole covers will be implemented as soon as we can feasibly get the contractor to manufacture, paint, and install. So that's for 2024. That doesn't mean that's all. There could be more from, again, from the resident feedback. So that's why we try to have these meetings. We can have discussions now after the meeting and come up with some requests, explore it, and give the feedback and see whether it can be done. So the development update, and I want to talk a little bit about the development. But in summary, we have about 70 plus 3 bedrooms. We've got 50 plus land that's not built on. 50 lots of vacant land. There's 23 4-bedroom homes on the compound.
23.
It says, yeah, about 23, yeah.
4-bedroom.
4-bedroom homes. Now, we have about 77 completed homes in the development. We are keen to see the development complete. This way we have the revenue to do more and more things. Again, 40-something vacant lands. There's a couple houses at the construction stage, 6, 7?
6.
With 6 houses. We have the construction rules, guidelines stage, the preliminary design stage. These are all the things new properties has to go through. Town and country approval, WASA approvals, and the full design review stage. So just to go back to the developments, it's important to reference the standards and requirements on the website. Those are guidelines because things do change. Get your plans in as early as you can. Make sure whatever you are going to build is on the plan. We do not want buildings going up where they deviate from what's supposed to be built or are in clear breaches of the lease agreement.
In already constructed properties, if you want to make a change or an add-on, it has to be submitted
Yeah.
for them
Never
to.
approvals, all of them,
Say that again?
never approvals, all of them.
Yeah, to stop.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying what you're asking.
Do you have approval for all these
So you have to
add-ons?
submit it and they will approve it. If
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
it.
Because we've noticed there may be cases where persons are just, oh, well, it's me already built and just tap
Yeah,
on
so-
something.
So,
We
yeah,
don't
no,
want
so,
that to continue.
so in summary, besides following the development process for, especially for the new homeowners, because it could be a minefield to go through. You have a lot of stress. And builders, designers, architects, and everybody. We want to make sure that you know what you're doing. We're here to help you. If you have questions, please reach out. For new additions, or not additions, but like if you want to build something on your property, like an extended pool room or a shed or something, you need to submit some drawings for that. If you want to heighten the rail wall, which I had to do, put a little design in showing how you're going to strengthen the wall so it doesn't fall down and kill someone. So that's why we try to do these checks and balances, because some folks will do what they want to do without understanding what they're doing. So yeah, it's really important to reiterate that. And if you need any assistance, call Cassie, and you can always email customer service. So just to tack on to one more thing, we'll go on to the project homeowner feedback tracker. This is, I think, fairly new.
Yeah, let's see. So the website has been updated, so it does include many of the things that you all would have asked for or been asking about. All right, things like payment information for the various banks or for new homeowners and original homeowners. When I say original, mean from inception, new homeowners after the changeover in the ownership, right? You understand what I mean, right? So there's a lot of information on the website. So we want to have you all go to the website first, look at it, see the changes before you all come to us to ask, right? Because inevitably we're going to point you back there. Because with the digitization that Roy had mentioned, we are trying to have the website as a repository for you all. So things like where your for your banking payment information, construction information, if I want to add on, all these things would be, how do you say, Q&A, general facts and information would be on the website.
So that's something new that's been implemented, and I believe Jillian has taken the lead in that matter. I think that's the last slide, Jillian. You there?
Yeah, yes. So this tracker is something to just show the homeowners that when they make their comments, complaints, address their concerns, we are in fact recording your information. We are in fact following up on your request through this spreadsheet. So it's not that you're being ignored, or if you find you're calling the office or somebody's not there. We are getting it. But what we will ask is that if we can keep to the proper communication strategy of using emails, because that allows us to get the information properly. Sometimes with the other methods, things can fall through the gaps. So I just wanted to highlight this to show that the community association is moving forward in terms of making sure we address your concerns, needs, etc.
Yeah.
Just ask a quick question on this. Is there anywhere to see, so say I am, I put a question in about, I don't know, manhole covers, right? So is there a place on the website that says, questions come in with regards to manhole covers? It is currently being investigated by our committee and will be, and then the update will then be there?
Sorry,
Go ahead.
Catherine, could you come a little closer? Again, happening is,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay, so my question is, if I, for example, I'm using manhole covers as an example. I mean, in the UK, we do this, the area that you live in does this. So you put in a proposal saying, hey, I have a question about these manhole covers. I don't think they're safe. This is my sort of complaint as a tenant or homeowner. Is there somewhere on the website that that is logged so that my cousin or whoever, Alex, can then go on and say, oh, look, someone's asked something about manhole covers. I was worried about that. Let's see what they're doing with that. So it says, you know, status, where are we at? Well, it's in discussion with the committee. And then when that's resolved, then there'll be like a little, okay, this is the solution that we're going forward with. Rather than everybody sending you an email going manhole covers, you can then go on.
For now, it is an internal document that can be something that is reviewed going forward to make it more interactive. But for now, this is an internal document. So the emails are fine. If it's multiple people that submit the emails, it just means it's going to be escalated further up or the urgency is increased. So for now, no, we don't have that set up and it's not in the short term. It could be reviewed in the medium to long term for updates. So what you will notice, within the last year, when we did major works for like the Christmas decorations, the manhole cover works, when people are on site, we have been trying to email homeowners to let them know this is what is happening. So I do take your recommendation and I will put it on our list for something to review going forward.
But I think what Jane is really trying to, point the direction she's pointing at is an email is documented. If we have different levels of expertise, if it's an email goes out for a particular issue, that will be sent directly to the directors, whoever on the committee. So we all know about it right away. It's there, and we
Could be
can,
recorded, it could be tracked.
yeah. And sometimes I might say to Cassie, we need that done in 48 hours or 7 days or 14 days because of the level of importance. But again, I guess, Jillian, once we know what the issue is, you will reply as you do to the homeowner and give them an update.
Yeah, so what it is, once it's sent to operations at Samaan Grove, it goes to Cassie and you copy me at customer service. Cassie, if it's an operational issue, will respond to you or should respond to you. If it's something financial or some other matter, security access, I will respond to you. So if you're not getting responses, please let us know. Because as I said, this is our internal document to make sure that we are on top of things and things don't fall through the cracks. So
Okay.
it sort of minimize the WhatsApp chats, the phone calls. The phone calls should just be a reminder. Okay, so I have one question that came in through the chat, so I'll just address it now, where it asks about the access to no man's land. So what I want to point out, and this is also on the website, that is owned through Occidental Investments Limited. We do not have access, and even though we have a better working relationship with them, they are dependent on waiting for government feedback. And I do not believe anytime soon we will get the access to through the Golden Grove estate. I just wanted to point that out. Any other questions? If
Sorry,
if you have a question to come up closer to the mic, we can hear.
Okay. Could you, Chair? Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna reiterate what you said there, Jillian, Ian was just asking. Basically, there is no access to no man's land. It is controlled by Occidental. And so we don't see anything happening in the very near future. I think it's fair to say we all want access. That's why I bought 2 blocks. So, yeah. So what Jillian also mentioned, any questions, grab a seat and we can have a discussion so everyone can hear. Anything?
Yeah, I think that would be.
Sorry,
So-
Natasha.
Right, so my concern, 2 things. One, the goat issue is still happening up till not last week, week before, we had to chase some goats from eating the plants. And the cat issue where the cat is grabbing even my garbage. I've even seen number 12 right now in a mess, and I want to believe it's because of the cats, these stray cats, they're sleeping all on my cushions.
Yes.
They're around nuisance, and we need to do something about it, right?
Okay,
Big
so,
problem.
Sorry.
address, okay, so to address the goat issue, Occidental is very aware of the issue. They have been trying to have discussions. From my understanding, it's a squatter who's using the property and they have a squatting issue with the whole development. So it is still in progress and it is something we keep asking them about, but we don't have a firm resolution as yet because the farmer in question, there's a whole lot of back and forth, which seems to be above Samaan Grove and even above Occidental right now. But it is being reviewed. They are trying to get the man off the compound. As in terms of the cat or the stray animals, I will direct that to either, I don't know, Brent or Roy.
I'm gonna jump in.
No, Catherine, Chair.
Okay, Catherine, okay.
So with regards to the stray cats, we've had this problem and it's a recurring problem. We're always catching and, taking these cats to the TSPCA. The first problem we have with the cats is they are feral cats. They cannot be adopted. So what the TSPCA have been doing for us is neutering them and then re-releasing them into the wild. Now, the problem is when you remove the cats from the area, new cats come in. So what they suggested we do is have them fixed, but then bring them back to our area. Now, I don't know many homeowners that like that idea, so we haven't done that recently. But what we try and do is organize with Elspeth, who does the sort of Venus Doggy, yeah. It's about looking after strays. And what she does, we'll do is a fundraiser. We're waiting until after Carnival. We're going to be doing a fundraiser, getting people to donate, and then doing a cat run in Samaan Grove and in certain areas, obviously, that suffer. But we can only do it like twice a year, and it's all very dependent on people being very generous and donating towards the cause. So far, there's about 4 homeowners that have donated previously, and I think last time Samaan Grove contributed, and we've got a couple of owners with cat traps, and everybody sort of gets involved. But it's something that we have to do as an initiative as a compound. It's not something that Samaan Grove can just do all the time.
Yeah, so as
I think your point,
Uh-huh.
if the solution is to bring the cats back, spayed,
Yeah,
then the general homeowners need to be aware of that, because nobody is aware of it.
right.
And the real truth is you expect the elimination, but the elimination apparently doesn't solve the problem because it just comes one.
Correct.
Okay, so don't go that route, go the route that you're talking, but let everybody know.
No.
The
Okay.
other thing that was really made clear last time when we did this whole run is we really begged all homeowners not just to have garbage areas, but to put chicken wire to stop the cats from being able to get into the garbage area. So we're really trying to sort of, minimize any distraction, because we do have the stray dogs and the stray cats that do come in.
Catherine, that suggestion, maybe we could send that out, okay?
Okay,
Because it's a very simple fix, I have the same problem. I
Yeah.
get my garbage ripped everywhere. And both places, and that's a good idea, I think.
And the same response.
well, we did.
Sorry, one at a time.
Yeah, I will show that, sorry. cats can't get in my garbage bin because. It's
Closed.
Closed, I mean, it's easy to fix that.
Yeah.
Sure, but the garbage man, we will remind the garbage man that he has to shut the gate
Yes.
because sometimes he doesn't shut it or it doesn't latch properly.
Homeowners responsible.
When
Everybody
you
has
get out,
responsibility.
it's
correct.
Every time I go out, I make sure they shut it. I mean, that's simple.
That's
Yeah.
common sense. Yeah.
But the thing is, if we do the cats, you do the cats, right?
Mm.
And let them back. I mean, they're still gonna do whatever they do on there.
Yes, they're gonna sit on your furniture.
Yeah, they're still
Yeah.
gonna do whatever they're gonna do, just to prevent them from really increasing. I mean, I don't see the cats as being a huge problem, because they also do a good job, they eat
They're right.
rats and stuff.
Correct.
And for the flip side, you've got that. The thing is, you've got
But it will stop them from multiplying.
the dogs are the nuisance because they go and shit on the road in front of my house, and I'm gonna clear it up all the time, so that's
Yeah.
more of a nuisance, but the cats, that's just like.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Cats are multiplying in the yard,
That is a
because you
problem.
see the little babies coming out.
Yeah,
At all, I don't want cats in my house at all.
Yeah.
But I say that I respect the neighbors. They just
I
need
don't
to-
want them,
Yeah.
my house is open.
Okay, to,
Okay, okay. Sorry, guys.
So I'm a cats inside it.
All right, we will,
Sorry, one last one.
yes. One
Okay,
second.
so-
People who complain
to
about cats.
interject, where the
Yes.
conversation is happening in a silo. And it's still a hybrid meeting, so if it is something to be discussed further. it
After,
could
we'll talk about it after.
What's that?
After, or
We'll
you.
talk about it. That's after.
At the front.
Okay. Any other particular questions? Who wants to take the seat?
So.
Natasha?
I have one comment, but I hope I'm not stepping on anybody's toes, please. I know when Sharice was here, she used to make sure this is taken care of, right? A lot of the lots on the outer part of it, it needs painting, it looks horrible. It's kind of like a white eyesore, we could just get them to just splash it with a little paint would be nice. Yeah. The perimeter wall, yeah, dividing, yeah, some of them, if we could, yeah.
No, good point. That the perimeter walls is an issue because, as you know, we don't have a shared fence in Acton, in Trinidad. You build the wall for somebody else. So, you know, which is bad already as it is because they're very expensive. But then you have the vacant lot who shares the wall and no one's painting it.
I'd like to add to that.
Yeah, so, no, so,
I think this wall, obviously in England, if somebody builds a house, you share it and it is part of and maintained.
share the cost.
Now, I painted my wall because someone complained, well, she said it was dirty and needed painted. And I painted it to great expense. And the vacant lot next door, obviously, when they're cutting the grass, it's all going on the wall. I've got to be cleaning it up, and it's building up with the whacker into a little pile all the time. So it's building higher and higher against the wall, and breeze is taking it and it's wet. So my white wall, lovely white wall, is getting dirty all the while. And I've got to the rake, and every time I come back to Tobago and rake the excess grass. So I think, just as a suggestion, I don't see why, the people who own the land next door, when they build, they're gonna get a wall free of charge.
Well, it's very expensive to build a concrete wall.
Right, they get that free of charge, so it's minus their building expenses. I mean, they should be every 2 years given up, because they haven't built within the period, a fee should be put on them to repaint the homeowner's wall. Because it's not my fault, it's getting, crapped on with all this wet grass. Ridiculous,
It's not your site.
ridiculous. I mean, as regards the vacant lots next door, people who haven't built, they've got to be responsible.
That's an excellent.
They have to be responsible for what they do. And we should know as well, who is our invisible neighbor, right? Who is our invisible neighbor who is shitting on us? Ridiculous. In England, you wouldn't have that crap.
So that's like the.
So, yes,
Sorry, go on.
and the homeowner as well, they have trees overhanging my property, dropping purple berries.
Violent.
I have pavers in my yard that cost me thousands of dollars. Really expensive. I've got to be, every time I come down here, I've got to be cleaning them up.
Yeah.
It's not fair that people who haven't built
When
they should be made accountable. And
So
I
what
don't,
is
I
the
don't
problem?
understand how as well, they don't build and people are not paying. I mean,
They got away for
that's
years.
crazy, you know?
Okay, so just in summary, we don't have a fence in Trinidad and Tobago. For those who are building a new house, you may have to build 2 walls at your expense, like I did. And then the adjoining properties get a benefit of $100,000 wall. That's probably maybe $120,000 to build a wall now.
Sorry, I take this point to follow through. We have the exact same problem. But I've got nowhere with everybody including.
Okay.
The committee, when you read through this, that when you go to apply for your building house approvals, we want to know where you're planting trees, how close to the boundary, how close to the road, and what kind of tree it is. Because what we have there is giants of trees.
Yeah.
And all they do is shut down our house all
So-
day, all night.
So what Ian Collier was just alluding to, there are issues with trees. And again, we don't have a tree act follow, so we kind of swinging loose here.
Yes.
But something we may have to implement or can consider implementing, which most developments in other countries have, is a landscape plan. You submit a landscape plan, what you're gonna plant, where you're gonna plant it. And in addition to planting, on the road reserve, which is not your land, be very clear, it's not your land. We need to have some guidelines. We can look at having guidelines as to what you plant on the road reserve. And what you put on the road reserve, because legally, that's the responsibility of the association. From the,
That's
okay, so from
Okay,
your,
man,
no, from wall to
It
wall,
would be a-
wall to wall, that's the road reserve.
So basically.
So you got
in
the,
front of your house wall, the little grass area, the curb,
The
the
pavement
road,
you're talking
no,
about.
curb.
That's the only utility.
yeah, let me,
But the
sorry,
pavement I look after, so
Yeah.
you all should look after it
No, no.
if it's not mine.
no, that's been tried and tested in many countries and it goes nowhere. It's not to do about cutting the grass, it's about what you build out there. Because people walking or dangerous objects can be a hazard. So without having a landscape plan and some guidelines on new developments, and remember, we are picking up from a long way on where things were done in the past. We in the development, we require qualified architects, not draftsmen. There's a lot of draftsmen calling themselves architects. There's a lot of technicians calling themselves engineers.
Yeah.
And the reason I put a lot of strict requirements in there is that I review the plans from a structural side to make sure that that person who is designing it for you has not missed major items. Now, it's not my responsibility, but I glance over it. If I see a lack of steel or I see a lack of pull down bolts,
Benefits.
I don't want to know that as an engineer, I don't want to see a high likelihood of your entire roof flying off in a hurricane because the spacing of the anchor bolts are 5 feet and not closer. So the whole idea of it is basically to try and make sure that development approvals is not meant to make it difficult. Mind you, we are very slack here. Okay, we don't do geotechnical, we don't do SATA diagrams, we don't submit plans to the adjoining neighbors to have the opportunity to object. We do none of those things. So for those who think it's very difficult, trust me, it's easy what we have to deal with here. God, in other parts of the world, it is horrendous. Okay, even environmental impact statements you got to do for a block of land.
Sorry, just going back to the point of the road reserve and building up on the road reserve. I do have something that I'm like a broken record because I bring this up all the time. You know how people like to protect their grass by putting logs along the side of the road between the road and that reserve. Now, I have 2 issues with that. A, when the gardeners come, a lot of those logs tend to go into the road. And I find when I walk in the afternoon, I'm pushing it back on the side. And the second one is a safety issue. My kids are on bikes, they are on skateboards, they are on scooters. Cars come down the road at ridiculous speeds that they shouldn't be. And I'm screaming at my kids, to the side of the road. They can't get on the side of the road if there is a log between them and the side. Please, can we remove all of those?
Just to reiterate Catherine's point, that's a concern I have too. Again, road reserve is the nature strip, which is the green stuff, the grass. Then you have from the back of curb to the back of curb, including your road asphalt pavement or road. That is part of the road reserve, and then the opposite side, you got another verge, grass verge, which is the nature strip, which is part of the road reserve. The problem with these logs or driftwood, I've assessed them last time and this time, is it, like Catherine said, one of the main issues, if you're driving around the bend and a car pushes you off the road and you drive over one of those logs, some of them have possibility of kids being impaled. That will come through your floorboard in your car. The floor in your car is only about a 2 millimeter piece of steel. It'll punch right through and into your leg, besides damaging your car. Kids could get injured if someone's walking at night and they happen to step on that. As we get older, our sight is not the best. Someone steps on that, they rotate their ankle. Okay. Now who pays for that? The association. So we get a lawsuit. Thankfully, we're not too Americanized, but if you get a smart person and they roll their ankle or damage their car, you're up for a lawsuit. That money is going to come from our $900 or $1,000 balance to defend ourselves. But the owner is, even though they want to put it there, we let it stay there.
Is there some sort of like insurance that the association can take for eventualities like that?
I think Jillian, if you're there, do we have any insurance well, I don't think insurance is going to cover
I don't know. if-
that kind of stuff.
Because I've been negligent.
That's negligence.
Yes.
Yeah, so no, we do not currently have insurance for this at this point in time, but it is one of the considerations for going forward.
This is public liability, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's something, Ian has brought up. I think we need to look into that down the track, okay?
Yes.
So in this instance, or in an instance like that, it is a situation where the association would be considered negligent because we have allowed homeowners to act as they want to.
Irresponsible.
And exactly, and it is an
That's
irresponsible
what my
action.
lawyers will tell you.
Correct, right? So the discussion or the talking point here is for homeowners who have logs, who place the logs, whether they want to get up easier into their driveway, whether they want to
Most of
prevent
them people-
parking
And for parking.
parking on the side or to prevent, J-turns or about turns, please remove the logs. That's basically what we say,
But let's agree to that.
right? Exactly.
that's
But you also have in the context of the liability, you have manhole covers that are very dangerous until they're repaired.
Mhm.
And those, okay, we'll be taking the chance, but somebody walks around and damages it there.
Correct.
So
So,
they sway you,
right, and that is why we have done the manhole project where we have
but
replaced,
they still do have them finished. Or
so.
those that are still not finished, you're liable, or susceptible to put it on.
Correct.
So just to interject, if we have any, Cassie, if we have any manholes where someone could fall into or step into, it needs to be barricaded.
Yeah,
Put 4-star pickets up and put power webbing around it
yeah.
and hide this color. That's what we have to do.
Yeah, quick fix, either quick long-term fix.
Yeah.
But take a part, that's
One
what
of
they
the
do.
trees, that's a quick fix. I just brought.
Cassie, sorry.
The thing on the trees, it's such a quick fix, I paid to have somebody trim that tree. Contact, Cassie contacted the owner. And he said he said, find out how much to cut it down. I don't know if Cassie's followed it up, but, he was willing to cut the tree down or to trim it.
Yeah.
So we just have to follow, the most important thing in all these topics is follow up.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
everybody has
Oh,
great
correct.
ideas. Everything has to be followed up at every step. Otherwise, good ideas go awash.
Yeah.
Right? Quick fix, what we can do now, what we can do tomorrow, and long term. As you said, the manual covers, we're gonna put a piece of wire. In England, it's a swing, it's a swing culture.
Hmm.
We're lucky down here, but
Well,
From the union.
4-star pickets and power webbing is enough to stop someone from falling in or climbing over it.
Yeah.
So that's very cheap to do. So,
And
Cat-
take a picture of it to make sure you
So,
protect it.
yeah,
save
even
somebody moves.
as we all see,
just send it to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is the protocol for our cameras?
as far as what aspect,
Well, the fella that was building had 4 cones,
Yeah.
one disobeyed. He went down to the gate.
and someone stole his car, yeah.
The gate said the camera does not go past. I know for a fact that it does,
no,
because I saw
no,
it.
yeah,
What if we have an issue and we have to call somebody?
I think, look, with that thing, I mean, I'm
It's
not, I'm
a
not,
serious thing.
yeah, I'm not minimizing a safety cone. I'm in construction. And we go through thousands of safety cones every month. People will steal it, but I know where you're going with this.
No, but I mean,
Yeah,
it,
so you want to
it
know
was no
who,
recourse, no recourse.
who took it, right? Okay.
They
now-
told him when he gave the camera doesn't show there. I saw it.
Who said that?
He reported it to the gate.
Yes.
And the gate said the camera doesn't go that so far down. It does. I saw it
Okay.
on the camera. Who demands the cameras?
Security.
No, they don't. They don't look back on it.
They don't know.
They do not look back on it.
So no one followed up on,
I think it might be Brent, but they are no use to us. If I have an issue right now, a security issue tonight, and I would like to see what's happening. What happens? to
if
me?
you want to see what's happening, it is on the loop.
They,
it's
they
recorded.
cannot rewind it.
So they cannot.
They
record it.
cannot
They,
rewind it.
no, they,
Okay.
as the officers, they're not allowed to rewind.
Another thing,
It's
when
not-
they have to get up and speak to people, nobody's looking at the cameras. Nobody's looking at the cameras. The guard is up attending to somebody entering, and they cannot see what's going on in camera. But
Guys,
Sorry, guys,
who goes back on
guys,
it?
1 second.
let me just
1 second,
They
interject.
should have checked to see who stole the thing.
1 second.
Let me just interject for a second here. With regards to that cone and the cameras, right? That information that was relayed to you, Michelle, I don't know where you're getting that information from, but it's false because we were able to review the cameras, see the cone when it was there, when it was
The
missing.
man told me,
Who's that?
the man who built the thing told me that they said he couldn't.
Okay, so you're getting secondhand information, basically, right? Because what had happened, I don't know. Now, did he make a report to Julian about it?
He said he made a report to the gate and they told him they couldn't look back, so
Right.
that was it.
So as Cassie said, now saying security cannot look back is not entirely true. The guards are not allowed to look back. However, Mr. Batiste can look back. So what happened in that instance is Mr. Batiste came, he reviewed it with Cassie, and they identified someone who was, we would say, a person of suspicion, and they in talks with him right now. So saying that the cameras didn't pick it up is totally false. And what we have to be very careful of is relying on secondhand information and then come and spreading that as gospel. So we have to be very careful with that, right? Mr. Batiste is the one to review the cameras. We don't allow the guards to review the footage for safety reasons, right? Saying that, okay, when they taken in someone, they register someone who is driving into the compound, they can't look at the cameras. Well, okay, but they're not gonna be staring at the screens 24/7, right? No one is going to be staring at that screen 24/7. It's the same as if they go to the washroom. They wouldn't be able to look at the cameras, but it is in front of them when they're and there's always somebody in the booth at least.
Yeah, but I didn't say that the guards in the booth cannot wind back the cameras, and that's what I
No,
said.
the guards can't wind it back. Fine,
That's
and that's
what I
how we have.
said.
Yeah, right, and there's no issue with that.
If I have to see something, who do I go to? If I
You
have
call
an
Mr.
issue.
Let the guards know and they will contact
The
Mr.
guards,
Batiste.
they will contact Mr. Batiste. and-
It's the same thing as when we had that incident with the robbery. Mr. Batiste was down there in minutes, Cassie was down there, and the cameras were played back immediately. And by the time police came on the scene, we had the information to give to them.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
Yeah.
they-
It was an apprehending.
So yeah, so you reach out to Cassie, right? You reach out to Mr. Batiste. The point
Has
was actually should be
has
Cassie.
everybody been notified about that? The protocol that's used for the cameras?
Well, I think
I don't
everyone is
think
notified
everybody
that
knows that.
Cassie is the operations manager, so he would be the first point of contact. That's the person I would reach out to.
Let's do.
I don't understand because so before who would so is it that people not aware that the operations supervisor or contractor is not the first point of contact? Because I thought that was a bit obvious.
Well, I suppose if you have security, you go to security, if you have a security issue. But yes, you are right, but you know, you're in a panic, something has just happened. You're not gonna call Cassie because Cassie's not on this compound 24/7.
Exactly.
You're gonna go straight up to the security guard and explain to them the situation.
Right, and what normally happens, well, as far as every incident that I know about, security will either contact Cassie or Mr. Batiste, and then they come back and we review the cameras.
Hey, Brent, wouldn't it be fair? Like I have security on my phone number. So if
Mhm.
there's any shady movements going around my property, I call security straight away. That's my
Yeah,
first
yeah,
point of contact, because that's what they're
yeah.
there for. We're paying a lot of money for
Yeah.
them. So let's
Yeah.
make them.
They
work.
get down very quickly if you need help.
The
So,
golf cart is now up and running. The golf
Yeah,
cart is
so
now
we
up
have
and
a
running.
golf cart.
we hear that long time,
It's-
just like the camera.
Operational.
It's operational.
Because that
So-
was just,
That's using it.
what I was coming to next was that if we would consider putting a little subgroup or the
I was
grounds
just
there.
gonna say that.
Because they're on feet most,
Let me-
they're on
Sorry,
feet.
1 second.
Okay, so one of the concerns that I have is I'm all the way down to the back by the gate that
Right.
leads you to the mangrove, right? If an incident happens, I mean, the security is on foot. Even if they use, let's say, the golf cart, I mean, how often they're really using it? I'm thinking two things. One, if we could put a little sub booth there, so one can be stationed there sometimes, maybe at particular times of the night.
High risk times.
Yeah, high risk.
Right, so
Or
here-
also,
here's-
if we could make them a little more mobile, something that's inexpensive as well, maybe bicycle, maybe some sort of scooter, maybe something as well. And also if they have anything to radio one to the other, you know, so they could communicate, but we really need, because we're manning the front gate and the back there is open. Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
no, agreed. So I think we in the process of doing up the request for quotations for the e-bikes, but the golf carts, as we know, it was down for quite some time. I think as of 2 weeks ago it was repaired. So we have to do some training with security in terms of how they use it, when they use it, who using it, because we have to monitor it very closely. Because it'll get we don't want it to get smashed up again, and then everybody saying it wasn't them. So we're looking at the e-bikes. We discussed that last time. We're trying to get the information, the relevant information, the best brands, whatever, as an option. That radio is an excellent idea. With regards to the boot, a sub boot, if anyone is willing to allow us to put a sub boot on the property, because all of those lots are sold, great, right? But we just can't go and put down a sub boot on anyone's property, right? So that's the problem.
well, just a little thing is that I'm
Yeah.
thinking, there's so much you're saying about the lots, but what about that gate? Okay, Julian said earlier that we wouldn't have access. I mean, can we just, it's not taking a lot of space. We can just put it on the roadway right there,
On the road reserve.
on the road reserve area.
Which road
It's not
reserve
gonna be
area?
anything that big, you know, at least if they're there, it's gonna be sheltered from the rain.
No, but which road reserve area? I'm not,
Sorry,
I'm
guys.
not following.
Sorry, guys. Let Brent answer, please.
Yeah, I'm not following when you say exactly where you're thinking about putting it.
Against the gate.
I think against
No,
the gate, but on the
yeah.
nature strip.
Against the gate, like as in the road itself?
No, on
Yes.
the grass verge. Like behind the gutter, behind the curb.
On whose side?
No, it could be the road against the gate, you know.
So I guess, I guess it could be on the road.
against
No,
the
it definitely can't be on the road, because then if there's an
With
issue and we
access.
need to move any kind of heavy, remember, we have to remember as well. The police uses that gate.
Guys, please.
Right?
Please keep it down.
So here's the problem. So we consider that as well, but here's the problem with that. We can't block the gates, right? For two reasons. One, police uses that gate to access no man's land, right? Because within recent times, there have been some certain activities down there that they need to monitor. So they use the gate to access no man's land. Secondly, if there's an issue where they need to get any kind of heavy machinery or whatever equipment, and they need to use that area, well, then we can't have the gate blocked. Right. The third reason, and the reason is that I am hoping for, is that if we ever get back access to no man's land, well then great. So then we can't have that road blocked. So blocking the road is definitely not an issue. Just because the gate is closed now, I don't think we could do any kind of structure there to block that up. Right. We can't put it behind the gate as well, because that's obviously not our land. And then, well, the gate access is another issue. So that's why I'm not too sure. I'm not following which road reserve area.
I hear what you're saying. Part of the issue we have here is that when the developers or the development planners laid this place out, they didn't take into consideration any of these things. It was just to maximize the lots and sell. That's class A developer, okay? But I'm just saying, can we, Brent, they've got to have 2 ways, radios.
Right, yeah.
Gotta have
Yeah,
two-way
we
radios.
definitely talk to Mr. Batiste with that.
So
Well,
that's
actually, right
a
now,
must.
we are in the process of renegotiating contracts and prices with Mr. Batiste. So this will be an excellent time to bring up the radios and tighten up those little security gaps that were raised.
Just another comment, Brent?
I mean,
Yeah.
do they know what their roles are, what they have to do in each event? Because, yeah, what they have to do in the event of this, that, or the other. Now, one night we called the guard because we had a lot of noise in the back of our house. And I think they came out because I saw come with a flashlight in the back. But they never came back to us and said, look, we went round and nobody was there, all clear.
Yeah.
Right.
So my wife was nervous all night. I wonder if
Okay.
they did the job. Now, the next day I said to I spoke to the guy who's in charge of the boss. I said, he said that did the guards come out? I said, I don't know. I said, well, they never came back to me. He said, they should have come back to you
Yeah.
and says, I've done the
Yeah,
job.
definitely.
So a simple thing. Do they know what they have to do in the event of A, B, C, D?
They have to close the matter. So
Yeah.
Brent,
Yeah.
They did the job, but they didn't close the issue,
Right.
which is
with
simple.
you.
Yeah, with me.
Okay, so what I suggest, Brent, we have a contractor review.
Right.
Can we get Mr. Batiste in? To discuss the contract and discuss the protocols. And whilst we
Right.
have everyone online and present here, this is where your input is really critical, okay? It's not just, remember, we working for nothing, right, so your input and your suggestions are critical, so please send them to Jillian regarding security matters as soon as you can.
One last thing, about 3 weeks ago on a Sunday morning,
Okay.
I came out of my house.
Yep.
At about 6:45, which means he was there before. And one of the lake house, the house joining the lake house, there was a fella in front. No, not opposite, on the same side. You see the lake house on the same side as me, the house there.
Right.
There was a pickup there and he was at 6:45, which means he was there before. He was picking up rubbish on a Sunday morning. So the guard was walking down and said, how come he's there? So she asked him, how you got in here? He said the owner called the gate and they allowed him to come in to pick up. You're not supposed to be in there on a Sunday to pick up rubbish on a Sunday. Clippings and so at 6:45, he was there before because I came out at 6:45.
No, I agree.
So what's all of that?
Yeah.
So again,
Well-
that comes back to the protocols, okay?
Yeah.
Those are the feedback we need. And in an email, if you have 5 of them, put them in dot points, because I will get to see it, Brett will get to see it, because
And you see, this is the problem.
So
Part of the problem, and I mean, sad to say, some of the problem, a big part of the problem too is we have a lot of entitled homeowners in Samaan Grove.
Yes.
Sorry to say, right? Because what in that case there, Michelle, what I'm almost sure happened is that homeowner would have called the guy and said, hey, this one coming to check me, right? This is his name. He passing to check me or something like that. And the guy,
Nobody's in that.
well, they could probably just say, you know, this person just
Say
coming
whatever they
to
wanna say.
just pass and put some eyes on the house, right? They probably didn't tell him what was the reason, right? And I mean, the guard wouldn't say, if the guard knows the homeowner and say, all right, this person just coming to just check something around the house for me. Okay, fine. And then that person only to realize this person coming to pick up rubbish or do some kind of work. And, you know, that's a issue because of the homeowner, right? So in a case like that, what we would hope is that when the guards let us know, then we could write the homeowner and tell them, listen, you know you're not supposed to be doing this on a Sunday. You have to ask permission. I'm sure if they asked for permission and it was something minor, it might have been granted, right? If it was an emergency situation, fine. But they can't, you know, the guards can't, right? But I mean, if it was a case where you forget to put out some kind of rubbish or something, where the rubbish was where in the bin area or outside? Okay, well, if it was a case where curbside, well, I didn't understand why they had rubbish curbside. Anyways, that I'm not too sure what happened there, but they should know better than, because it's in the lease agreements, it's in the rules, nothing on a Sunday. So I mean, a homeowner has to take a certain level of responsibility. Maybe you could probably just let Julia know which house number that was, and she
And we
could
can write to them.
write them
We
to
need
remind
to
them
know
of
right
it.
away.
It's the one before the 8,000.
Okay.
Can I just interject a little bit here too? You're probably all gonna hate me, but you gotta understand a lot of the properties in Samaan Grove are rentals. We don't know the situation. I think it's 100% right. They should have spoken and got permission, and then we'd be able to defend them. Because you never know, it might be that they had a rental coming in that day, and this was the only time they could have got the garbage picked up. But equally, it needs to be approved when things like that
But-
happen.
Sure.
Because I think as a community, we also have to be understanding to an extent.
I take a different approach. they could do that Monday morning.
I agree.
But if your rental comes in,
I don't care.
Hold on, I need to interject,
Oh,
because
sorry.
recently, when Casey wrote, right, considering issue with water in the property, I did a major project because next door to me, which is 121, it has a lot of issues. I took care of a lot of their issues, right? And because of the extensive work, on 2 occasions, I had to have 2 guys come into my property to help to clean up the inside. I did right, I did get approval. This happened on a well, it wasn't a Sunday, but it was a Saturday, which is weekend.
That's urgent, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was a cleanup,
That's
and so there are
emergency.
exceptions,
That's an emergency.
you
So
know.
that's fine.
So they were inside of my property, so
Yeah,
I just
that's
wanted,
the-
you know.
that's the-
If, just to clarify,
That's different.
we don't want to mix up emergency works, like if you have a burst pipe in your house. That is an emergency, okay? And sometimes, that could be, 5 a.m. to try and shut the pipe off. But picking up rubbish and stuff, that is not essential, that is not critical, that could be done the next day.
Correct.
No one's gonna sleep uncomfortable in their villa with
We
something
have
up front.
we have a problem with fires along the perimeter road, the perimeter wall. When they cut the bush or whatever it is on the outside, the flames go right up in the air and it can light the houses on fire. Some of them are not even in the house.
Okay,
The fire brigade is there all the time. We should probably write them.
okay.
Who's
Well,
that?
thanks. Now this is to do with debris and waste behind the
Fires.
southern boundary wall where it ignites, and the embers, as you know, can
Right.
ignite your property. So that's something, again, I'm saying after this meeting, homeowners need to just put those dot points forward to customer service. This way it's documented, we can action it, we can look at the response time, we can at least get back to the owner and say, look, we wrote them 2 weeks ago, we still waited. to hear,
But
'cause you
that
cannot-
fire, just to clarify, that fire was in Samaan Grove's property,
No,
compound,
behind
or
the
no?
wall.
No, it was behind the wall.
Well, in a case
So-
like that, honestly, the first thing to do is before you contact the first thing to do is
Fire
contact fire services.
Yeah,
Yeah, because right, yeah. So that's the first thing
But
because
there
we
are owners that are not there to call.
No. What he's saying is if you as a homeowner notice a fire from
We did
another,
call.
call
And
the
they-
fire
they-
department,
That's really good.
right? And let them come to deal with that. Because
Because I don't think
have to call the
we
fire
don't really
department.
have we can't really do much, we can't really do anything about what happens outside of the compound.
We write them a letter about our concern. If
Yeah.
fire
Yeah, no, we
is
can write a
Yeah.
letter to the fire brigade state, and
Yeah.
this
our concern.
this activity has happened a few times. But again, as a community, and I emphasize community, we have to keep an eye out for each other.
We
Yeah.
call.
So,
Definitely.
what you did by calling, because
Fire
would
they
have,
come
would have
right to-
protected that person's house, so
Yeah.
that's good. That's really commendable. So just keep that in mind, everyone who's listening and who's here, it's, we all share some responsibility in everything we do. Any other questions? Anything really long and complicated, we can take a walk with it, but
Getting back to the curb, right? They have 2 houses. Originally here was to be green. They have 2 houses with the cause that's Samaan Grove land, right? All the utilities pass it, but when you build something permanent on top of it, if a utility goes or water leak, they have to dig all that up. It's not the house owner's thing to build. Like the house past me, they put the interlocking thing
yeah,
all the way to the curb.
right.
And this house way down there, I won't go on in, but I don't need no more. Pass it as well, but that should be grass.
Well, all properties, and we'll have to,
Narrow thing, tiny, you can take
No,
the road,
we
which
will-
road right there, you can.
we will have to write, here's how utilities work, right? If you don't put the right pavers down, in the lease agreement, it calls for grasscrete pavers from the back of the curb at least to the boundary, your boundary wall has to be grasscrete. That is part of the initiative to improve the drainage, to take in some water into the soil to minimize some of the flooding activities. It helps, but if you put the wrong pavers down, you will probably be getting a letter, number one, as to why you're in breach of the lease, and number two, if a utility has to go through there with a JCB backhoe, they will rip it up and they are not obligated to put back anything because you haven't put the right material down, because the grasscrete pavers, they can literally lift that out with a machine, set it aside and go through. I'm aware of the one you're speaking about. Yes, 2 of them. I found 2.
So, yeah.
So again, reiterate to those who are building, you need to read the lease, you need to comply with the development regulations. And all of us have to comply with the lease. You know, we may not like it, but that's why we live in a community where there are standards. Otherwise, you'll have anything going up next door to you. And-
If this is the only legal thing you have to counter, because without that lease,
That's it.
you're in trouble.
We only have the lease and we all signed up to that lease. We all agreed when we bought property here to comply with the lease.
Right, right.
But once one property deviates and you all allow it, it allows all the other properties to deviate.
Well, we haven't-
That's all.
Yeah, but you haven't-
I will say you are biased to me because you allowed that one to do it.
We didn't allow them to do it. If they went ahead and do it,
So
they
I
did
see
it.
some people got approvals to do.
Well, I
things which
haven't
deviated.
approved anything outside the lease
Well, when
agreement.
you see the approval, homeowners say, I got the approval. Verbally, maybe at most,
Correct.
ask for the written,
In the
does
past,
not exist.
just a comment here talking about, in the past, we had a lot of hearsay approvals, and that's why we've changed the whole process.
Sorry.
If you want something approved, it must be received on a Salmon Grove letterhead.
Correct.
Signed by one of the directors,
Agreement.
plain and simple. This, if someone says to me, well, you know, so and so said that to me, that doesn't fly. That doesn't fly because anyone can say that, and nobody wants to call anybody a liar. So there are things that were done in the past. Those who haven't complied, yeah, there's a few things people will have to get a letter for. Not that we want to do it, but you need to read your lease agreement, make yourself familiar with it, or at least get your lawyer who is doing the conveyancing for you to advise you on what you're purchasing. You cannot come back and say, well, I didn't know. No, it's there. You need to make yourself aware of the conditions. Ignorance is not an excuse in this situation,
Right, correct.
because we all have to comply. I had to work very hard to comply. And, you know, it's a cost and it's a pain. It may not be what I want. When I built here, I couldn't build anything I wanted. I had to build a particular house. My hands were tied, and did I want to build that house? No, but that's what my hands were tied. So, that's a big issue. So complying with minor things like paving and the road reserve and stuff, that's very little stuff in the scheme of things.
Are we gonna get somebody like D or somebody to replace D, that there's a presence here? Like workers leave at 6 o'clock and nobody checks on. Are we gonna fulfill that?
Those matters are gonna be discussed.
Cause that's
very
very
quickly.
important.
I have seen security move builders on, even yesterday,
Yeah.
Yes.
and
No,
I
but
saw
are we
that.
gonna get somebody separate from them? That we could go to.
Yeah. we cannot have somebody at 40 hours a week. It's extremely costly. That's why security is here to make sure that the workers move out of here. That's really their core duties, part of their core duties. As far as the oversight of building works, that's something you're looking at. My role is the assessment of drawings and designs to make sure that complies and that the professionals involved are accredited. We've had situations where we had draftspeople posing as architects. That's not allowed. So that's really a security matter. But if Cassie is here late, you need to go and take a drive down and make sure it's clear. And tell them to move on and let security know to go on.
Guys, so I need to jump off, right? Because I didn't
Yeah.
expect this meeting to run this long.
Yeah,
So
we'll wrap it
what
up
I-
shortly.
Yeah, what I just want to close off with is one of the things, please utilize the website a little more, right? Now, as Juliana would have said, we have proper channels for communication, but a lot of things that we discuss in these meetings, remember it's being recorded, we put it up on the website afterwards. And then what you have happening after is people who couldn't be bothered to attend these meetings come now and ask the same questions and basically the same things that we covered in the meetings. And it basically feels as though they're harassing you because they will reach out and keep asking the same thing over and over. And it's kind of cumbersome and tiresome to have to be repeating things that we just discussed and things that are on the website, right? So, I mean, we normally see the same faces in the meetings, that's great, but we want to encourage more and more people to attend so we can kind of minimize, the repetitive nature of it. Because the directors, we have jobs, we work in, right? You know, we're not here to just sit on whole day just to answer the same things that we talked about before. So please reach out to your neighbors, let them know. I mean, we send these emails out to everyone, we send newsletters out to everyone. I think as Cassie was telling me, a homeowner Britain a couple of weeks ago told him he didn't even know Cassie existed. When Cassie was here for I think 2 meetings, the information was up on the website. So, you know, we could kind of try to utilize the technology, if you want to say that we have. Also to the lovebirds holding hands for any meetings there, but they're not holding hands anymore. Welcome. I don't think I saw you guys before. All right. I tried to figure out and kudos to you all because I couldn't hold hands for that long. So that was nice to see. I like to see it, right? What lot number?
89.
89. Okay, great. So welcome, guys. All right.
Okay, good.
Okay, good.
All right,
Yeah.
sorry, are you signing up now? Brent?
Yeah, so I need to jump off, right? So thanks everyone for attending. If you all have any questions, you know, you have my WhatsApp, you have my emails, shoot me an email. And I think we got some really good suggestions with regards to the website and with regards to tightening up security as well. So definitely when Roy and I have that meeting with Mr. Batiste, we're gonna be bringing up some of those things as well. Yeah.
Okay, so, all
All
right, Brent,
right.
so we'll continue for another 5 minutes and close off, okay? He's gone.
Sure.
Just a couple of things.
Right.
Right. Code of behavior. I mean, how difficult it is. So how difficult it is.
Yeah.
To have the people who own houses that rent. To have a document, code of behavior. This is what you can and can't do. Right? One of the things is you can't walk on vacant lots around the perimeter, looking over the fence into my wife swimming. Okay,
They're not supposed
that
to
can't be
walk on
allowed.
lots.
I don't see why
They
people
do.
should make money by renting their houses. They should control their rent. They tell the people in their house what they can do, right? They can't destroy their furniture. They can't do that. They can't do that. Right. So we as homeowners, we need to tell the renters as soon as they come in the cars, give them a piece of paper.
Yeah, we can do that.
You're in the
Yeah,
compound.
well,
You're not allowed to walk on the vacant
Private
lots.
property.
You're not allowed to play football on the vacant lots. You're not allowed to enter people's properties and swim in their pools because I've seen that happening.
Yeah.
I mean, how difficult it is to give the people that come in the cars
Okay,
to occupy the
so,
houses
so,
a
so,
list of things that they shouldn't do. And
Okay.
if they go against that, they'll be
So-
evicted.
no, I agree with you. I agree with you. So,
How
so,
difficult
no,
is
so
that?
this is where we need your feedback, right? You got a couple of good
And
points.
throwing litter. I've
But-
got a
yeah.
whole bag of litter I collect every day. And not only that, homeowners, tell your gardeners not to throw plastic bags in the back of my property and empty bottles. I've got a big bottle here. Even people's instructions how to assemble surfboards. It's not on. It's not.
All
there.
right, so, hang on. So, okay, so look, we can acknowledge that's an issue, right? So, again, if we, hang on, guys, again, let's just stick to the topic if we can, so we don't deviate too much. If we can get those points are valid. Okay, those points are valid. So send an email to Jillian. Say, these are things I'm looking at, and anyone else will compile it and then put together something that's a set guideline for people to follow. And not only that, it'll be emailed to all property owners, just in case an owner decides to rent it out.
I rent, but the
Yeah.
thing is, yes, we have guidelines, but then it's human being will tell me and we do and on everything. The suggestion he made,
Yeah.
I think is perfect, to
Mm.
give them something at the gate in terms of that, but listen, you can never run for agreement, you have everything, they don't read it.
No.
They don't read it,
That's
you
it,
send just some
everybody
notes, they will still ask you questions.
But at least
Once
people,
we have it,
ignorant people always say, well, no one told me.
correct.
All right, no one told me.
Them at the
So
gate.
at least, and not only that too, if that person, like I said, if that person does anything incorrect, at least we say we've advised you and security can take
No, I
action.
like that idea, you know what I would do from now on, because we're very strict, I would print my own, because I give the security to my guest list, and I would ask them to give it to our guests, so I really
That's
like
what
that.
should be done.
I like that.
On signage, I would like to add one more sign. Don't litter.
Yeah.
And this sign should have a backing.
Double
It should
sided.
be double sided
Double-sided,
because
yeah.
the one down there, when
Yeah.
you drive down, coming up,
One
you don't
side,
see it.
But I have one suggestion, if I can just say this, right? So
Jump in.
one of the, right, just want to make this suggestion is that what we see happening now is a lot of people are parking on the road. So I think going forward, all of these new builders, please ensure that they have enough parking space for the guests. Because when the gets very, developed 100%, what is gonna happen? A lot of people gonna be utilizing the streets for parking, right? So.
It slows down the traffic, eh? It's
Correct.
speeding, you know, it
No,
slows
but
down
look,
the speeding.
parking, street parking is always an issue, no matter where you go.
Yeah.
No matter where you go. And you live in England, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Good luck parking in that place. That's why I stopped driving there.
Does Samaan Grove have a board of directors? An
Well-
official one?
Well, the two directors are myself, Brent, and we have a director from Occidental OIL. And we're looking to have an AGM in June. Hopefully in the middle of June, we'll have that. And the idea of having the meetings more frequently is to get more communication and keep people abreast.
But while you're on communication, this gentleman, I've never known him before.
Yeah.
I saw him yesterday or the day before, which I was very happy to do. But he is not involved in the so-called chat. I'm not too involved in chat either.
Yeah.
But the real truth is that before, when anything went awry, or somebody wanted to make a comment, they put it on the